order, start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mrs. Thompson?
Here.
Mrs. Merritt? Here. Mrs. Bertram?
Here.
Mr. Duco?
Here.
Mr. Henderson?
Here. All right, we are on approval last board meeting minutes. Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mrs. Bertram?
Yes.
Mrs. Merritt?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes. Treasurer's report.
Okay. In the treasurer's report for the month, we have the financial recap from February. Donations received, $500 from Bonus Kincaid for unpaid cafeteria balances, $100 anonymous for unpaid cafeteria balances, $200 from Pigeon Corporation LLC for softball. Approved miscellaneous items as follows: renewal of district insurance through Liberty Mutual for April 1st, 24 through March 31st, 25 in the amount of $60,559.15. Approve one then and now for training for $4,031.42. And approve rates and resolutions for fiscal year 25 for Inside Mills General Fund 0.5, Permanent Improvement 2.5, Permanent Improvement Lease 1.6, and Outside Mills General Fund Current Expense 19.5, General Fund Emergency 3.32, and Library Bond 0.5.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, and this isn't pertinent to this, but is our renewal up next year?
I just looked at that. I think that next November is the first time that I can put it on the cycle.
Next
But it's
November would be the
25,
first time.
25,
Okay. I thought, okay, thank you.
yeah, I believe it, because you have three chances to have it approved before it will fall off of our
Year prior,
millage.
fall prior, and then the two during the
Correct.
actual year.
Yes. Mhm.
And how much is that?
530,000,
Okay, that's.
I
Okay.
wanna say.
Alright,
So it's very pertinent that
Yeah.
we keep that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mrs. Allison?
Yes.
Mr. Duco?
Yes.
Mrs. Merritt?
Yes.
Mrs. Bertram?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes. Looks like we're lacking public participation, so let's move to the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Some miscellaneous things to share. Of course, we're approaching, I'll say happy Easter in advance. We're approaching our Easter and spring break. Students and staff will not be in session on Friday, this Friday the 29th through Tuesday, April 2nd. Classes resume Wednesday, April 3rd. We are 7 weeks remaining in the 23-24 school year. Hard to believe. We have a lot of culminating activities. I say it's banquet season, the month of middle of April through May, with a lot of the scholarship dinners, graduation, class day, field trips. It's a good place to be, a school that is, in April and May, as kids get the opportunity to kind of see their hard work come to fruition in April and May. So a lot of fun things happening for our kids. Look forward to being part of the last 7 weeks here for the school year. A couple of flyers that I put on the table. One is for next year, Be Your Best with the Bears. Enroll now. My intent would be to send this out. Reminder to our open enrollment students are coming in, and also students that perhaps have open enrolled elsewhere, to send this home as a mailing, and also to our residents in terms of kindergarten registration that is on the website now. You can see some of the things just highlighting, the assistance that we provide here for our students and parents, enrichment, state and county ranked, some thoughts and some times and dates for the future, K-12 open house for next year already, Thursday the 16th, kindergarten registration, screening, open enrollment details, and then the back is just a synopsis with Mr. Fairfield and Mrs. Dunnigan with some of the things that we have to offer here. Just a quick hit with getting this out to our current residents and students, but also those that may choose to come here. So just welcoming those that we can. The other is the Leetonia Schools Family Fun Festival that will be here at the end of April. That's a Friday night, April 26th. I did not give that to you, I apologize. I probably already put it in a packet electronically. I think I did last week or so. But you will be reminded probably 4 more times about this. Looking for a large group, and again, this is the 4th annual at our stadium, so looking forward to that. This past month has really been heavy, and I'm pleased to say this, in our performing and fine arts. So when I say performing arts, I'm thinking of the kids that were nominated, auditioned, and participated in the Columbia County Honors Band and Choir last Saturday at Beaver Local. They were out of school rehearsing, and then they performed at 2 p.m. on the 23rd at Beaver Local. They were our honors choir of Jack Snyder, Casey Williams, and Taylor Zepernick, and the honors band led Emma Cartwright, Alexis Solomon Hanson, Ella Harris, Zachary Davenport, Jackson Himes, and Elijah Prince. And then on the next page, you'll see some art submissions, and it's been on the Facebook page and on our website. And this is really saying something for Dagny Smith, our sophomore. Her piece that she submitted called Isolation. She's a state qualifier, top 25, and get this, top 25 of 8,116 work statewide. If you read the Youngstown Vindicator today, there was a piece in there on A9, I think it was, page A9, talking about Dagny and some other students across the Tri-County area, but very proud, and she's a talented, and the same thing I'm going to say, talented young lady, I'm going to say the same thing about Jordan, talented young man, a 9th grader with new perspectives, and he was in the top 15% out of 300 in our region. So shout out and kudos to Mrs. Caitlin Colton Morris. She's just done a great job, Mr. Fairfield, with his guidance with her and the kids, but very proud of, if you just get a chance to go online if you haven't seen it, the one that I thought was going to be displayed in the governor's in the state house was a different one that she submitted, so she's real talented as well as Jordan. And a lot of our kids, the ceramic pieces you'll see, I think I talked about it last month, but when you walk out of here, she's displayed in the showcase on the wall. So congrats to those kids. And athletics, we've started off on Monday with a win, baseball loss with softball, canceled today, pick up again tomorrow. Track started last night, track again tonight. So we're kind of full swing with junior high and high school sports through the remainder of the year. And it's silly because every day it's, depending on the weather, whether we're postponed, canceled, or we're playing. And so check the website is what I would say before if you think you're going to come out. But again, congratulations to the kids for representing us so positively.
Did we have enough students or kids for JV baseball?
Presently we do. There's a question about do we have enough for JV baseball, and we believe that we do. I talked to Coach yesterday, and we don't have the schedule put together. We have to see, we have to make sure we have enough. Good. Now we're going to reach out and get some games in. Yeah, it's a good thing. I was lamenting, I'm not sure, but I think the win on Monday night was one of the first opener wins I know we've had in 4 years.
Yes.
Other than football, and so it was a good start for them, and kids were pretty pleased, and the coaches as well.
Cool.
Student achievement, Mr. Duco, I think.
The CCCTC, our last meeting, we had our new instructor that we hired from the criminal justice program come down and give us a recap of what he's planning on doing his junior year with the juniors and with the seniors. And the nice thing about it was, he mentioned a couple of job opportunities, and number one, when they graduate, they could become a dispatcher, which is nice because that's a need in the area, so we maybe could provide some help in that way. Students can also become TSA down at at any airport, and they need those people also. They could go into retail, security, and then they'd have to be 20 to go into the police academy. But the nice thing is the CCCTC also has a police academy, so hopefully we can feed some of those students after a year into that. And then the other thing that was interesting down there was, and Dennis and I attended the ribbon cutting ceremony for the mobile lab. And I think we're gonna get that in either April or May, right?
I talked to Mr. Corbusello, should be arriving here pretty soon.
Good.
Wanting to display it right out front in our expanded parking, so that people are asking questions, what's this? And they can get out and tour it and go through it.
And that should expose some of our younger kids to some career opportunities that they might not have thought about, so.
Good things happening. Proceed?
Proceed.
Okay, old business, 6A and B. 6A, Bears to Be, approve a one-year lease extension for the Bears to Be preschool that we have here in the K-12. Also, B, 6B, 23-24 calendar modification. Of course, last month, I talked about the April 8th date being the solar eclipse, and I'd be recommending to the board that we approve changing the April 8th, 2024 calendar as a non-attendance day for students and staff due to total solar eclipse that we discussed last month.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mrs. Murray?
Yes.
Mrs. Boton?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson? Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Sorry.
New business.
You can combine 7A through D. High school diplomas, of course, the most important thing in my mind that all of us do here tonight, and that'd be granting the members of the class of 2024, roughly 40 seniors, their high school diploma on Friday. Yes, Friday, May 24th at 6 p.m., contingent upon their successful completion of the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce guidelines. 7B, again, we're talking about calendars, 24-25 academic calendar modification. We talked briefly last month as well. We noticed that brought up that January 3rd was a PD day for staff. So they'd be coming back on that Friday after Christmas break. And after talking to a few of our LEA leadership, we felt that August 30th might be better suited. Again, same number of school days, same number of work days for staff, just moving it from January 3rd, 2025 to a PD professional development day on Friday, August 30th. That would be the change, the only change in the 24-25 calendar that was adopted previously. C, 25-26 academic calendar along the same lines. This one here is a little later start, the way that Labor Day falls, and fortunately, the start would be August 25th of 2025. There would be 3 PD days. We talked a little bit about this with all the new initiatives that are coming down the pike, so to speak, for our staff. And the last day of school would be Friday, May 29th, which would be graduation. Now again, this is not this coming year, but it's 25-26. We've been in the habit of approving 2 academic calendars over a 2-year period for planning purposes. You can see there's, again, the long Christmas break, the normal break for Thanksgiving, your parent-teacher conferences built in October and February, and then the Friday through Tuesday, just like this upcoming week for Easter break. But once again, the 29th would be graduation, last day for seniors would be the 29th, and graduation the 29th. Teacher report day would be June 1st, but for our principals and staff were agreeable, they could come in and fulfill that duty, and as far as check out on the 30th if we so choose to do so. But put that on there as a possibility, but officially the last day would be June 1st. And then lastly, in this new business would be junior senior prom, just around the corner as well. And this would be the prom and promenade to be held May 3rd. The prom would be at Mr. Anthony's in Boardman, 7 p.m. the banquet hall, and there'd be a promenade here at the school, the big gym at 6 o'clock, once again on May 3rd.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Huddleston?
Yes.
Mrs. Botoff?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
New business supplemental contracts, 9A and B and 10A. Supplemental contracts recommend approving the following supplemental contracts pending all background certifications. Scott Andre is assistant softball coach in a volunteer position, and Melissa Saccone be a track chaperone volunteer, which is a little different. Mrs. Saccone would be willing, she has her FBI and BCI background check, willing to come and just, we have, in some of the larger invitational meets, we have kids scattered all over, and as a junior high student athletes, you get first call for this, second call, and those students are just not used to being where they need to get to, and she can assist. So she's willing to give her time. Again, the clearances are taken care of, but would like to have her approved, as well as game workers. We do have operational baseball and softball scoreboards, so we would like to have students run those for us, and it was quite nice to have them working last Monday. So that's game workers and supplemental contracts. And then lastly, 10A will be subs. Approve the following subs for 23-24. Monica Taylor is a classified sub, effective 3/13, and then April Brinker as a certified and classified substitute.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Huddleston?
Yes.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Botoff?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
11, new business personnel, 11A, B, and C. I have 11A is retirement, accept the retirement of John McElduff effective July 31st, 2024. Of course, all of you know Mr. McElduff well. He started here in 1998 as a sub. Want to thank Mr. McElduff for his years of service to Leetonia schools. Certainly will be missed. Wish him the very best in retirement and happiness and health. Over 26 years of teaching, and again, appreciate his service to Leetonia District, as well as Mr. Mark Taylor, effective June 1st, 2024. Let me back up, Mr. McElduff was intervention specialist, athletic director, I believe, coach over the years. Mr. Mark Taylor is a longtime custodian. He was hired in 1980 here. So 44 years, of the math is correct. He's had a great career, and again, thank him for his service to our students. And you know, both of them run through the finish line, and they've done that every single day that I've been here, and long before I got here, I'm sure they did the same. So congrats to both. Resignation, we have C, resignation, accept the resignation of Lori White, who is a custodian, effective today, March 27, 2024.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Botoff?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Huddleston?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
And I'll break out a couple more, 11D and E, a 3-hour cook. Approve a 1-year classified contract for Peggy Courtwright as part-time 3-hour cook for 23-24 at step 0, effective March 11th, 2024. E, 1-year certificated contract. Approve Ronald Lee, a 1-year certificated teaching contract for 23-24 school year, step 0, retroactively effective March 14th. Mr. Lee's been one that's come in to sub for Michelle Long's position. He's done a great job, and he was able to get his licensure to be highly qualified for what he's teaching. So I'd like to place him on the teacher scale for the remainder of the school year at step 0.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Mary?
Yes.
Mrs. Huddleston?
Yes.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Botoff?
Yes.
MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with OPSI, approve the attached MOU with OPSI regarding rehiring retired employees. We've had in our certificated contract language for retire, rehire for employees. There has not been language in the classified or OPSI contract for retire, rehire. I've written an MOU, it's in the executive file. If you so choose, we've worked with OPSI on this with the language. So if there's an individual, I'll use one as an example, Mark Taylor, we just approved his resignation. If the board so chooses, and Mark or other employees that have reached that milestone and would like to come back, there's of course language in here that would allow for that, and with also some stipulations on the term and their pay and seniority and everything that would go with a retire, rehire position. So that's for your consideration as well.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Dennis, on the MOUs, they're just 1 year, right?
Yes. Well, to put it this way, it goes into, if it's last year, it'd been in the contract for.
Oh, so it goes in for okay, and do we keep a file of our MOUs just as
Yes.
just to reference them for next
So
negotiation?
when you do negotiate, you say,
Okay.
we pull those out and,
Okay,
hey, remember we did
I don't
this,
remember if
this,
we, I don't
this.
remember if we did that, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Dugan?
Yes.
Mrs. Merrill? Yes. Mrs. Edelson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bertram?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
12A is the, this is again pretty normal for this time of the year, March, program of study for the 24-25 school year. We're asking the board to approve the Leetonia High School program of study course offerings information for 24-25. Of course, we have Mr. Tim Fairfield here, our 7-12 principal, that would be happy to cover any changes in that program of study. Talk a little bit about our graduation seals and answer any questions relative to that. Mr. Fairfield, anything you'd like to start with?
First of all, I think I provided you with a document that has any of the changes that I made for the course of study, so you didn't have to compare last year's to this year's. So I pulled out those changes there. Some of them are sequential changes, where we're putting PE and health, just in order for our students to get those requirements if they choose to go to the Career Center. Looking at offering our students a 12-point industry credential, the ability to earn that in order to meet one of their SEAL requirements, and that was adding Rise Up as a program. It's a little more cost efficient than the NIMS program we had this year, and it's one package as opposed to NIMS is pulling from OSHA and also pulling CPR as well. I updated the honors diploma requirements and added the new graduation requirements for the class of 2026, or I'm sorry, the honors diploma requirements for the class of 2026 and beyond. Pulled out some of the courses that we're not offering for next year. Those classes are still there. I still have copies of the old course of study, so if those classes become pertinent or we want to offer them again as an elective, we can always bring them back and reactivate those courses as well too. We did clean up some language with some of our redundant courses like weightlifting 1, 2, 3, and 4, robotics 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those elective courses only have to be labeled as weightlifting or robotics, and students can take them in multiple years and receive multiple credits for those. Added a few more electives, and I listed those in there. We have current events being added as an elective in the social studies realm. We've added yearbook or publications as a class. We looked at some of our math options as well too. So if you have any questions on anything there, and then the back of that page, we took out a couple of music classes that we're not offering right now. We went and looked at our robotics and our drone courses. And then to talk about the graduation seals, every student in order to graduate now needs to earn 2 of 12 seals. One of those seals has, at least one of those seals has to be a state seal. The other could be a local or a state seal as well too. And those seals are and I'll kind of go through them quickly for you. A military enlistment seal. If a student enlists in a branch of the military, then they earn a seal for enlisting in the military. A technology seal, and there's a couple of different ways that they can earn that seal. Earning advanced placement or international baccalaureate exam, college credit plus, so forth. Industry recognized credential seals. A lot of our kids that go to the Career Center can get that seal, as well as our Rise Up program can also offer our students that seal. Citizenship seal, and that's basically scoring a proficient score on the government test and the American history test. Ohio means jobs readiness seal, and that's just criteria established by the readiness seals, work readiness and professional competencies with that seal. A biliteracy seal, that's obviously foreign language. College ready, and that's a remediation-free score on the SAT or the ACT test. Science seal would be passing the biology and of course exam with a proficient score, and then the honors diploma seal. The locally defined seals would be a community service, so doing a community service for the project for our community. Student engagement would be participating in extracurriculars in the school, whether it be athletics or clubs, art, music. And fine and performing arts then again goes to art and music. The student engagement, I was talking about the ensembles that we do outside of school. So if you have any questions, I can discuss further. But program of study, we're going to use the course of study when Mrs. Rice goes into the classrooms in the next week to start having our students request the courses that they want to take for next school year.
You share your timeline with the scheduling?
She'll be in the classrooms next week as soon as we have this board approved, and then we can feed those student requests into our scheduler, and we should have student schedules generated within the next week or two.
On your recap, you mentioned you were dropping algebra, or we weren't offering algebra, that algebra/geometry.
Yes. That was a remedial class for those students that didn't pass the Algebra 1 test. The reason why I pulled that out was because I think that course was then doing our students a disservice in geometry, because they weren't getting a full class of geometry. So we have room in our schedule where we can pull those students that didn't pass the Algebra 1 test and give them direct instruction, one-on-one instruction with a math instructor, remedial math in that way. So
that was my question. What are we? And then I guess maybe it's not as big of an issue, but do you have the same issue with ELA 10? If they do not pass that, is there anything available to them as juniors to help them catch up?
So if they didn't pass ELA 10, we can put them back in ELA 10 and then put them in a Bear Academy or an online version of ELA. We can offer them a summer school.
So you double them up their junior year?
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll take ELA 10 and ELA 11.
Yes. And there's nothing in their schedule junior or senior year just because of those requirements like health, PE, financial literacy. Those things are already fulfilled in their freshman and sophomore years. So.
Thank you.
Motion?
I'll second.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Marion?
Yes.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Boton?
Yes.
Mrs. Middleton?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
If I may, I'll combine 12B, C, D, and 13A. 12B is OASBO 457 Adoption Plan Agreement. Approve the adoption of OASBO 457 Deferred Compensation Plan. C is YSU, again, Memorandum of Understanding. This is approving the College Credit Plus Master Agreement between Youngstown State University and Leetonia Exempted Village School District. D, Bonefish, approve a contract with a 3-year contract for accounts payable monitoring solutions. And lastly, 13A, new business miscellaneous, broadband services and wireless products agreement with Access. Approve the attached agreement for managed internal broadband services and wireless products for fiscal year 24. This would be a multi-year agreement, July 1st, 24 through June 30th, 2028.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
The Alaska 457 plan, we didn't have as part of our, these are for retirement plans for staff that choose to put their money into like a 401k, but it's called a 403b or 457 in this case. It wasn't part of our original adoption, so that's why we're adopting it now.
All right, roll call.
Mrs. House?
Yes.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Claypool?
Yes.
Mrs. Mayer? Yes. Mr. Henderson?
Yes. All right, we will now adjourn to executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1. And adjourn to executive session for the purpose of considering the discipline, employment, dismissal, promotion, or compensation of a public employee with no action taken. And this would be the Board of Education, the superintendent, and the treasurer.
Yes. I'll make the motion.
Second. Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Mayer? Yes. Mrs. Allison?
Yes.
Mrs. Leetonia?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
6:31.
Okay, we're returning to open session at 7:08. We need a motion to
Motion?
adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Votak?
Him too, yes.
Mrs. Votak?
Absolutely.
Mr. Duca?
Yes.
Mrs. Allison?
Yes.
Mrs. Merritt?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Today's
There
just
you go.
not my day for
You're
mayor.
2 for 2.